next one. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for recording. I forgot to mention that we will be recording, therefore we can send it back out to you and go from there. Alan, are you picking this one up?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Awesome. So, thank you all for joining, and thank you, Anna, for the intro. Again, thank you. These sessions are meant to be a benefit to you at Blood Drives, and also to keep in mind that the more you all participate, the more you will get out of this. But also to just reel it all in. This will be recorded and sent out. So donors expect to complete before coming to blood drives. A lot of you all probably are donors. Some of you may not have donated, but that's okay. Expect to complete rapid pass, registration, physical exam, phlebotomy successfully. And that's the goal. We are going to have some detours ahead. We're going to have long wait times, low high vitals, phlebotomy issues, upteenth other thousands of things that could happen on a day of staff show up late due to traffic, you name it, even things that we haven't thought of probably still haven't happened. So although there are many reasons for deferrals, we're going to focus on what you can do as a blood donor ambassador to help navigate long wait times, vitals, low or high during physical exams, and our phlebotomy issues. Again, the more you all participate, the more you'll get out of it. Anna and Jane, I cannot see the chat, so you just have to interrupt me. And of course, feel free to interrupt as well. That's what we're all here for, to help learn.
Alan, I'm watching the chat for you.
Thank you. All right. Deferral detours. So basically, we're gonna focus on this one real quick. It can be extremely disappointing to not be able to do something that you had your heart set on. People come in to give, and they want to feel happy that they did give. So, take for instance, a few weeks ago, I went to go donate, and I had I was racing to get there, still working, and my my heart rate was up. And that's never happened to me before going into a blood drive. I checked in with a volunteer. I was busy talking to the blood donor ambassador there, and they're like, "You have normally have high blood pressure?" I'm like, "No, not really." They're like, "We're gonna let you sit for a little bit." I was like, "Oh man!" So that at that point in time, I was just like, "Okay, I gotta get in the headspace, relax. I'm here to do something good." And sometimes, um, that those deferrals can be avoided, but sometimes they may not be able to. Uh, the big thing here to keep keep highlighted is it's okay to have a deferral. There's things that are going to happen that are out of our control and even out of the donor's control. So just reassure them, hey, it's okay. Thank you for being here so much. Thank you for making the attempt to come here and donate. Let's get you signed up for another date and time. Simple as that. Short, simple, to the point. There's a scenario here that I'm going to read. If anyone wants a surprise example of how they interacted with someone upset from a deferral, what did you do or say? Leave it open for a second. Anything in the chat, Anna?
Nothing in the chat right now.
Okay. Of course, feel free to still put those in. Some things that you could do or say. Try not to ask to avoid blaming and navigate these obstacles with statements. Instead, ask questions like if they had enough water to drink. Say that helps if you had enough to eat and drink before coming. And then provide an example of what can be beneficial, like how much water or what items to eat. And again, keep in mind, deferrals are not a stigma. Deferrals are common, and then make sure the donor understands that does happen. Encouragement and gratitude, and always ask if there's something that you can do to put a plan in place for a future. Sometimes another example from that time I was donating, someone came in and he hadn't had anything to drink. This was his first time donating. I could tell he was nervous, and the staff could tell he was nervous as well. he hadn't drank anything. So a lot of it sometimes is just a learning opportunity and excuse me, not learning opportunity, a teaching opportunity to those donors, and not in a negative way, just to help make sure they feel comfortable throughout the whole process. So when a blood donation deters, make a statement. Again, we're focusing on that sandwich, that care, knowledge, care. Stop, listen, proceed with care. Slow and cautious as you provide the facts. And this is key, slow. Sometimes if we overdo the knowledge section and we kind of rush through the facts, the donor or whoever you're talking to may miss that and could create more confusion, could create more problems. So very mindful of the knowledge section, slow and cautious as you provide the facts. And then a care, send them off with care. Thank you for coming in today. You've helped make an impact. Even if you were we're going to get you set up for another blood drive. Here's some tips that you can utilize so that way next time it's smoother. Uh, let's see here. So reflecting feelings, you always saying something, communicate with positive purpose, repeat caring, thank you, no thank you, respond with layers of caring communication, the care, knowledge, care. See, those of you who have attended these in the past, keep in mind the care, knowledge, care, the sandwich we're going to refer to probably almost every time. Long wait times, everyone's favorite. Long wait times at blood drives. Who would have thought? Um, they do happen. A lot of factors could play into that. Late start. Um, People get caught in traffic. Not just staff getting to the blood drive, donors getting stuck in traffic or trying to get away from work and they are not able to get away from work. Um, there's this next slide is going to throw a lot of people off. Don't read too much into it, okay? It is scary. Um, but this is an example of what the staff used to predict donor. Again, keyword predict donor wait times. Again, a lot of this stuff we are talking about, these detours that do happen just kind of just, they do happen. There's no way to avoid them. We try to plan to avoid them on a day-to-day basis, almost an hour-to-hour basis, but it does happen. Um, so this is what the estimator chart that our staff do use. Again, this isn't something that we're going to down to the nitty gritty, but they do try to predict donor wait times. And then again, what are some reasons that long wait times may occur at a drive? I mentioned traffic and everything else, but again, feel free to put those answers in the chat or come off mute. Anna, you can still read those off as we still progress through the presentation. Again, like I said, over presentation of donors, we could have a lot of donors signed up to give, but short staffed. Maybe a staff member had to call off because they were sick that morning, or something plans fell through, or their kid woke up sick. It could be a whole slew of different things. Sometimes it's equipment issues. Power red machines not acting right. My power red donation during this example that I'm using actually was very a slow process. My blood was going quickly, but the machine was just having trouble kind of switching over back and forth. So that did kind of create a hiccup, but the staff did like jump in and they were really engaged, helped. Um, so that was nice.
With that, Alan, we do have a couple of suggestions in here that we have
Okay.
maybe walk-ins.
Okay.
Again, equipment failure, surge of donor with no appointments,
Yep.
power
Good one.
outages, reactions, walk-ins, and walk-ins with the donors, etc. But with this, I was at a blood drive yesterday, and we had three major reactions, which meant those donors were on that bed for an extra long time yesterday,
Mhm.
which then backed up the donors that could go on the bed, etc. So those things do happen. And then obviously we have some more here with staff shortages, unexpected room issues. That things have to be changed around. So we do have some folks out there that do deal with a lot of these issues out there in the field, and it looks like we've got another one in here. Um,
I
Oh,
think Kathy raised her hand.
oh, okay. I'm sorry, Kathy.
Yeah, I think the key here is communication. When these things happen, and they do happen, is just to communicate with the donors that are waiting, to keep them informed and, to keep them updated. They just want that communication to know why, what happened, but mainly just to not be ignored, you know, um, to keep the update and just, like, yeah, you may have a possibility of a half hour extended wait. You're welcome to wait, but give them that opportunity. And two, with the deferrals, I think the big key there is safety. Our supply of our blood has to be safe. And the big thing too is the donor safety. We don't want to put them in any harm by setting them up for something that's going to set them back. And I think the biggest thing is just, when they do get deferred, is just thanking them for walking into the door, their heart's in the right place. They walked in to make that difference, but today may not work for them. Maybe it's another day, but, maybe when you're feeling better or your blood pressure is more under control, those type of things.
Kathy, super glad you're on this call. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Kathy and a lot of our other staff have come from collections, so it's really nice to have this like almost conduit of information. One thing I will mention, I had one here in Kentucky. They had to move rooms because they had set up the blood drive in an open. It wasn't outside, but there was a skylight, and not just one skylight, but it was like a glass room almost, and the temperature was like 80 something degrees in there. So yes, they're gonna have to like cancel or move the blood drive. You just never know what could happen. But Kathy, thank you, and thank you all for putting those things in the chat. So acknowledging donors, Kathy already hit on it. Communication's key. Some people don't, well, a lot of people don't like to be ignored, especially when you're coming in to do something nice. So verbal, I see that you've been here a while. I'm sorry for your wait. Thank you for your patience. I want to offer them a water. Can I offer you water while you wait, or a snack? They're there to help donate blood. So, just again, people don't like to be ignored, and a lot of us too. If we're going to a restaurant to eat, kind of the same thing. We don't want to be ignored. Nonverbal, turn your posture to face the person, make eye contact, smile. One thing I learned in one of my previous jobs is kind of mimic, not every move that a person makes, but kind of mimic kind of what they're doing with their posture and everything. It kind of helps calm them down. They won't even notice, but it's one thing I picked up. So verbal and nonverbal. Here's some more scenarios. And these are kind of where it just depends on these conversations. If they kind of go to it, off in right field, it can really throw you off, and it can also make you not enjoy your time. And again, our jobs as reps and our management team, our job is to make sure you have a good volunteering experience. That is the key, and fill those blood drives. That is the big thing that we want to focus on. But these scenarios can really throw a wrench in your day. No one said hello. No one noticed I was there. So I left. They walked by me a dozen times and never once made eye contact with me. I wish someone had given me an update. Felt like I wasn't there or invisible. So these are a lot of things that we just need to kind of keep in focus. Again, that verbal and nonverbal communication really does go a long way for people. Book now. Everyone here loves Book Now. I do. I think it's an important tool that we use to book our donors out. You can utilize this as to capture, of course, our many donations as possible. If they're not able to wait, definitely that should be the first thing you're kind of thinking of, getting ahead of that curve. Encourage them to use the Book Now, rebook their appointment for later that day or that week. Maybe even one going on right around the corner in like Columbus or some of our other cities in our territory. Just make sure they know that they can do that. Try and rebook them then and there. That way they don't have to do it. You can walk them through. Boom, it's on their calendar. They can go. And then consolidated physical findings, non-invasive hemoglobin, uh, technology updates during health history. The things that these are kind of almost all pre-drive stuff. I mean, donation, and then here we are. Uh, this can definitely throw a wrench. Health history again. We want to keep people safe and happy. Like Kathy said, we want to keep people safe. So walking through those things with them and assuring them they're making a difference by being there. So let's see here. What slide are we on, Jane and Anna? I'm sorry, I kind of got sidetracked.
I believe this is maybe 14.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Positive benefits. And this is getting into our health history. Good thing is, very new to our the American Red Cross, automated BP and pulse rate. Simple, quick, easier for training for new employees, and nice for our donors. No finger stick for most donors. Less painful, better experience, and reduces staff exposure risk. Also cuts down on supplies needed for the blood drive. Logistically, this is great. I always used to hate getting my fingers stuck as a kid. I hated even doing it when I was donating. The needle getting put into my arm was a lot. That didn't even bother me. So the no finger stick for most donors, of course, uh, is very big. So very good positive benefit that we've kind of transitioned to. Infrared monitor, quicker results without the risk of missing a probe cover or trying to find probe covers. Reduce supplies, like we already mentioned. Upgrade technology increases efficiency for the processing those donors. All right, so I think Jane, is this the slide that you have for 15?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and hand it off to Jane, and Ann and I will continue to monitor the chat.
Thank you, Alan.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, everyone. So it's important to focus on the positive facts and the reason for the change when we're navigating the conversations with donors. Know the positive benefits. An interesting fact, donor satisfaction with wait times has increased by 5.5%. Time spent on physical exams has decreased by 1.45 minutes. And this is over the past 6 months in comparison with the previous year. The positive benefits of consolidated physical findings include automated BP and pulse rate. This is simpler and quicker, and it's much easier when training new employees. We have the infrared thermometer, which comes with quicker results without the risk of missing a probe cover. The no finger stick for most donors, it's less painful. Provides a better experiences and reduce the exposures that staff could risk. Reduction of supplies needed, no need for lancets, gauzes, bandages, alcohol preps, probe covers. Upgraded technology increases efficiency in processing donors. Next slide, please. Okay, so sometimes we have concerns, and these were some of the concerns that were gathered from feedback from our donors over the past years. It says, caution, high donor emotions ahead. Here's one. Since the Red Cross began using these devices to measure my vitals, my readings have been very different. 2, why did the Red Cross change things again? 3, I should be able to request my vitals being taken using the previously used devices, finger sticks, thermometers, blood pressure cuffs, etc. And 4, I've been donating platelets for 34 years. I donate 24 times per year and have been deferred 3 times in the last 4 weeks. Something doesn't add up.
So we want to remind our BDAs that when we are handling concerns such as these, to use the caring communication layered response that we discuss in all of our calls. Remember the care, knowledge, care sandwich. Does anybody have any comments or responses that they may give to donors who have these concerns? Okay, well, I just want to remind everyone to acknowledge that the donor has a concern and tell them, that we're sorry, and then explain to the best of your abilities. If not, you can always include a collection staff member or a collection supervisor to help you better answer the question. And then let them know that we are looking into it, and just make sure that the donor is aware that we do sympathize with them, and that we'll do the best we can to address their concerns.
Hey,
Next slide,
Jane.
please. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Jane, we did have a statements or a question. Are hand warmers helpful? And I will say the several blood drives that I have been at with these new procedures, they have not used the hand warmers. Um, Out of 140 folks that we saw yesterday, there were only 3 deferrals. And two of them were because of the hemoglobin, and another one was actually just because of blood pressure. And that has nothing to do with, I mean, that has a lot of things to do with it, but it wasn't with the hands. It's the hands itself. Um, Kathy, I don't know if you have any word out in the field with the new procedure, with those hand warmers, if everybody is using them, is it helping?
I don't. I haven't received any feedback regarding the hand warmers, but I will let you know, especially during the winter months, when the donor's hands are cold, it will make a difference in their hemoglobin reading because their red cells become restricted when your fingers are cold. So you do get a better accurate reading when your hands are warm for and hemoglobin.
Okay. In the chat, I do have at weight management clinics. I attended the automatic BP cuffs read so much higher than a manual cuffs. Um, Cuffs that I was nearly in the ER. I have always 20 to 30 points higher with cuffs pressure and so forth. I also have, I don't think they have the hand warmers with the new equipment. A lot of the people just rubbing their fingers together. I've seen that as well. Um, and yes, Ellen, thank you on that one. Okay. Jane, if you want to continue, that'd be fine.
Okay, I just texted our collections manager here in West Virginia, and I asked about the hand warmers. She said that they have them available here in West Virginia at every mobile, and yes, they're very helpful for donors. So, it could vary in other areas, but that's the answer we have for that one here. Yes, next slide, please. So deferral during change. So here are some examples of things that you could say. I'm sorry to hear that things are different since we've upgraded to the new machines. Have you asked the staff for additional information on how to prepare for success using the new equipment? The way the hemoglobin is measured is different. I would be happy to grab an experienced staff member to talk with you about what can be done for better success at your next appointment. And that goes back to what I said at the earlier slide about perhaps getting the help of a collection staff member or a supervisor there to help with the donor concern. Next slide, please. And we always want to maintain our trust through the deferral. Here's some things that you can say. I know you're incredibly committed, and we appreciate you being persistent. Deferrals are being monitored closely. You can request for a different device to be used or request for the charge to perform a second check just to minimize any errors. And thank you for your support. thank you for your support during this process. Next slide, please. Phlebotomy complications are one of the hardest deferrals for the donors. Keep in mind when facing this type of detour to be extra mindful of the facts. This donor completed our rapid pass, arrived for a donation, possibly waited to be seen, and passed all the physical exams and question review. They were well on their way to crossing the finish line, and then they were deferred for phlebotomy complications. What are some ways that we might be able to address this? Well, again, I would suggest bringing the collection staff or the collections manager, supervisor in to answer some questions. But again, always make sure you let the donor know that we appreciate their time and their effort, and that we apologize that they were deferred. Next slide, please. Donors make us bloody proud even when the donation is in vain. It is hard to help donors navigate deferral from phlebotomy area, as these donors have typically already experienced a venipuncture and possibly a nearly completed unit. When you receive the donor in the canteen, make sure to be ready to listen before proceeding. Gather the following information before forming your statements when encouraging the donor to communicate with their emotions. Why was the donor deferred? What they think happened. What can you do to diffuse the situation in any way? Don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions to show the donors that we are supportive and that we truly care. Ask them how they're feeling now. Ask them if they have any pain. Is there anything you can do to help? Always be mindful when developing your responses to not put blame onto the collection staff, even if you think that they're at fault. If you notice a pattern in deferrals from a particular staff member, do not address the situation with the donors or other volunteers. Bring any information only to a supervisor, which is a charge, an engagement representative, or a team supervisor. This way they can investigate or monitor the staff to make sure the appropriate actions are being taken and give us a better success rate in the future. Next slide, please.
And also, I'll add too, Jane, to this. This is probably about the time where this thing it can get really hairy real quick. You know, anytime people are in pain, definitely could heighten uncomfortability to other, just things. It kind of unlocks a whole new beast almost. So just be ready, and just again, like Jane said, ask questions. People want to be communicated with and know that they're still there making a purpose. Things do happen.
So in this last little section here, we will review some tips for volunteers to help donors avoid detours in the future. Next slide, please. For those donors who need a little extra care and effort when they only have today, offer to take phone numbers to call donors who have appointments. Look for slower times later in the day for walk-ins and coordinate with the staff to get those walk-ins in. And encourage donors to check for any open appointments using the Blood Donor app. I've also suggested too, if there's drives that are fairly close, that they may go over to that drive. I know here in West Virginia, especially in the Charleston area, we often have drives that are within a mile or two of each other on the same day because it's such a big area in the state. So if they're unable to stay or get in later that day at that location, maybe they can go over to the other location and get in as well. Next slide, please. So we want to support donor success. Don't forget, hand warmers are available in the registration. Oh, here's our hand warmers. Verify staff have activated hand warmers during the setup. Ensure hand warmers remain in an open bag while in use, and they should remain in open air to continue to warm. Help volunteers understand how beneficial it is to use hand warmers at the registration, especially during cooler times of the year. And this was the guidance that was released earlier this year. So why does this matter? Warming the hands before or the or since hemoglobin measurement helps ensure that the blood flow to the fingers is adequate, leading to a more accurate HGB reading. Measurements may be negatively impacted by poor circulation. This is because cold fingers have constricted blood vessels, which can lead to reduced blood flow to the fingers, resulting in a less representative sample for HGB measurement. Hand warmers take about 10 to 30 minutes to fully heat up and require air to stay active. Open the hand warmers during the drive setup to ensure they're ready for use for the first donor if needed. To ensure effectiveness, place the hand warmers in a plastic baggie or hand grip cover available in the VP tote while they're in use. However, do not fully close the baggie. Leave it slightly open to allow airflow. After testing, once the hemoglobin HGB test is completed, remove the hand warmers from the baggie to allow them to continue heating throughout the day and return them to the check-in for the next donor. If a hand warmer is needed in a health history booth, it can be retrieved from the check-in station. Volunteer assistance. So we can encourage check-in volunteers to support this process by distributing hand warmers and explaining the importance to donors, placing hand warmers in baggies before handing them out, and answering any questions that we can about their use. And if we don't have the answers, then we can refer to collection staff or the supervisor there to help us answer any questions. Next slide, please. So we want to establish trust in the staff. If donors express the need to use a specific arm, we can help avoid phlebotomy issues by using care, knowledge, care, or sandwich again. I appreciate you sharing your arm preference with me. The staff will evaluate both arms to be sure they select the best arm for the donation day. I appreciate your understanding and know they will explain why they will be using the selected arm so you feel both confident in your donation and comfortable. Last slide. And this was our presentation. Is there any questions, concerns, comments? Yes, Bonnie.
Hi there.
Hi.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I had a question on staffing, scheduling. One time when we had a drive that was quite heavy at the beginning, the schedule was heavy with 2 and 3 for every 15-minute time frame and so forth. And a lot of people came early. And then I think there was a staffing or setup issue, and so it got behind right away. And there were as many as 10 people waiting quite a while that I couldn't even check in yet. Then I found out that the staff had actually somehow communicated with future donors and apparently emailed them or texted them and said, don't come for another hour. So there was then a gap because they got caught up. And then all of a sudden we had another bottleneck because people were told to come later. And so I wasn't even aware that the staff could do that. And so it took me off guard because people said, well, I got a call that you're running behind. And I thought, oh, okay. I mean, it just completely took me back. And I just didn't know if that's a common or, I know we just needed to communicate, but that was just one event that I had. I thought it was odd that they were able to tell people to come later. And then what happened was all those people came at the same time later.
Yes, I can understand that. Kathy, could you help me answer that a little bit better?
Yeah, I'll try. Yes, they do have access to do that, and they are recommended to do that to help with customer service. They probably should have definitely communicated that with you behind the scene, knowing to keep you in the loop that this is a possibility. But moving forward too, they should have offered those donors an appointment time to help eliminate that buildup again later on in the day.
Thank
I
you, Kathy.
appreciate that. It was just a one-time event for me. But I think now if there was a bottleneck, I might ask the staff if they're going to be doing that. So I will know. Because then it looked like there were no shows for an hour and a half. And then all of a sudden we had an onslaught again of the same people that had been scheduled previously. So, but I was kind of caught off guard. Thank you for answering.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? If not, we just want to let you know how much we truly appreciate you getting on this call and learning a little bit more about the donation process, referral rates, and things of that nature. We appreciate you all and hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Anna.
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thanks, team. Appreciate it.
Thank you.